Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is January 21st, 2026, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? I'm Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. And wow, one game away. Oh, excuse me, 2 games away from the Super Bowl conference championship weekend. Usually the two best games, most competitive games of the season, sometimes even better than the Super Bowl itself. A lot of times, even better than the Super Bowl itself, because trying to get there is almost the ultimate thing. Obviously, you want to win, but you can't win if you don't get there. So, super important weekend for all four teams involved. And last week of the 4 games, I only got one wrong again. So I was 3 out of 4. And that one wrong was the one I was the most. Oh, man. I really, I had all my money on the 49ers, man. All my fake money in my mind, not real money. I really thought that they were getting hot at the right moment and they would carry it over. And the Seahawks played too well. They played too well. They were tight in all three phases, as they say. So that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
that was a tough game. That was a tough game. And we the numbers, the Bias Plus reports was 50%, 2 out of
mhm.
4. Um, and got the one right. I believe that the Seahawks were favored in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one was right.
And you had the Rams too.
Yes, yes. So um, it's really, that's what it's all about. Parity all the way down the line. But you can take the Bias Plus reports, the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, and add your expertise, add your personal AI to it, and maybe come out with some picks and maybe do a little bit better. Even though I must say, Benny, there was on our Facebook page, it was a post of all of it's like a six of the uh, football minds that's on TV like every day, right?
Right.
And they all picked the Texans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, these pundits, these guys on television, I'm gonna get this out now before I start talking about those games last week and what I think about the games coming up this weekend. And we talk about this all the time, especially this time of year, and you and I agree 100% on this. If you're going to make it deep into the playoffs, if you're going to make it to the Super Bowl, and if you're going to win a Super Bowl, chances are you're going to have a really good run game and a better than average to superior defense. And it's been proven that you need to have both. The Texans only had one. And that one was really good. And I think people fell in love with the Texans defense. Hey, they had a 10-game win streak. What's not to love? But their lack of a running game ended up hurting them.
The lack of a running game ended up hurting. That wasn't
Yep.
the only thing that hurt them, but I'll let you talk about that when you cover the games a little further on because no, that
Well, the
was
lack of the running game turned into pressure on the quarterback, which turned into turnovers, blah, 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 blah.
that what you're saying? That
That's the
pressure.
whole thing, but I'll get to it, yes. But the lack of the running game started it all.
All right, well, okay.
We can talk about it. If you can't run the ball, never mind. Go ahead. We good?
We're going to go through all that. We're going to go through all of that, Benny. First up, let's just acknowledge that we are talking about the conference championships, where we will preview. Ben's going to preview and give you his predictions. And I guess a little bit of review, not a whole bunch, a little bit of review. AFC and NFC, Benny.
No, I got a whole bunch.
You got a whole bunch. Good stuff. Good
Yeah, it
stuff.
was only a few games. So, I kind of went
Okay.
crazy.
Okay. Let's talk about the AFC. Patriots at Broncos. Bias plus score 5.5 favors the Patriots, Benny. The AFC Championship. You can see that the Patriots have an average, they're ranked second in average net points, where the Broncos ranked seventh. So they 5.2 for the Broncos, 10.3 for the Patriots. And they also had a slightly better average turnover differential. So the numbers, just based on everything they've done so far, favor the Patriots. What do you
Right. Okay, so the number 2 seed was the New England Patriots. They took out the Houston Texans 28-16 to advance to the AFC Conference Championship. Now, most of this stuff I talk about when we talk about the previews and all this of the upcoming games, these are the things that I consider when I'm thinking about who I think is going to win the game and why they're going to win the game. So, as awesome as we all agree that the Texans defense has been all season, especially in this last 10-game win streak that they had, their run game's been pretty iffy. It wasn't terrible during the season. I mean, they did win 10 games in a row, but it wasn't great. It wasn't even really very good. It was shaky. And the lack of that run game allowed the more complete team, which was the Patriots, to pressure CJ Stroud unmercifully. And he folded like a lawn chair. He really did. Patriots defense took full advantage, 3 sacks, multiple hurries, 6 tackles for loss, a fumble recovery, and 4 interceptions. When you have nothing to pull out of your bag but your arm and your number 1 receiver is hurt, this is what happens. They stuffed him. They snuffed him. He folded like a lawn chair, like I said. It was awful. Oh, yeah. One of those 4 interceptions was a pick 6. Drake May, on the other hand, didn't have his best game either. He threw 1 pick, he lost 2 fumbles, but he also connected on 3 touchdown passes, and he contributed, along with Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, to total 105 yards on the ground, numbers that the Texans couldn't even come close to. That was the difference. Solid D, solid run game, get the takeaways, put up points, win the game. Now, they're going to play the Broncos. They're going to have to go to Denver. Denver is the number 1 seed. They hosted the Bills. And yes, Josh Allen, Superman, was in the building. However, the weight of carrying his team finally took its toll. He delivered winning passing stats. If you look at his numbers, they look pretty good, actually. And he helped James Cook total 183 yards on the ground. So they had the run game going. But he fumbled the ball 3 times. He lost 2 of them. And he threw 2 picks. The last one was in overtime, and that led to Denver's game-winning field goal. So, yeah, you can't turn the ball over. We know that. But you also have to defend the other team. You have to protect your quarterback, and you have to get after the other quarterback, and they weren't able to do that. Denver pulled out the win. Now, Denver will be at home, but my man Beau Breeze is injured. He's got a broken bone in his ankle. So we got to go to Jarrett Stidham. That's a major factor in picking this game. I like both these teams. I like the way both teams are coached. I like the way both teams play. I think the Broncos defense is a little bit more accomplished than the Patriots defense. And in fact, the Patriots defense showed me a few little holes along the way against the Texans. Even though it seemed like they dominated the game, they didn't the way I expected them to. And by the way, like you said, the talking heads on TV, they all were picking the Texans. I did not hesitate to take the Patriots, if I remember correctly. But anyway, if Nick Foles can do it,
Oh my God. Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. First of all, let me just say this real quick. Speaking of the talking heads, They have mentioned that some of them are thinking that a Jared Stidham is equal to a Drake May.
Okay, I'm not mad at him.
You're not mad at okay, you go
No,
along with that? You think so?
the Patriots drafted Jarrett Stidham to take over for Tom Brady. That was the original plan. Jarrett Stidham is not a stiff. Jarrett Stidham can play. He's got some wins on his resume.
Why
Now,
is
he
he not
hasn't
a starter in the NFL as badly as they need quarterbacks?
probably because Denver would never let him go.
Well, what you call him did grab him real quick, but he wasn't on anybody. He wasn't, competing at a, with any team, competing with any team to be their starter. But Sean Payton apparently really likes him and snatched him right away,
Sean
signed him
Payton
up
does.
right away.
He
So
does really like him.
he's been there from day one. Interesting thing about the Patriots, especially with the conversation about their strength of schedule, and a lot of people said they had one of the easier strengths of schedule, you know. And in a way, I think that it's almost like having the ability to just continue to improve your game, because the competition isn't that great. You know what I mean? So it's almost like practice. You know what I mean? You can do some things that maybe you couldn't do and work on some things and really tune that game up a little bit. And I think that's what I see about the Patriots. They're finely tuned team. They struggled a little bit against that Texans defense, but who doesn't? The fact that they struggled a little bit and didn't get swamped is almost a major accomplishment because of how really awesome that defense is, that Texas defense is. I mean, they just were they the number one defense, I think, for points?
They were the number one defensive points in yards. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, so only because of, they do.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter how good you are. If you keep giving the ball back to the other team, eventually they're going to score on you.
Well, that's true. I mean, and obviously the Texans gave it back more than, they did. They
That's correct.
struggled. I mean, their offense showed the effects of having to step up and play that better grade of defense, I do believe. And so people looked at the Patriots and said, well, they didn't do this. They didn't look real great. But if you beat the Texans and you don't get swamped by that defense, I think that's a major accomplishment. So I just think that they're like a really good team. You know what I mean? If you need a five and out, they can complete that. They don't have to necessarily do something super duper. They can stay within the realm of a fundamental, strong football team. And that's what I think Rabel has pretty much brought there. Much less that they're a tough team, and all of that kind of good stuff. So they will hit you. And I'm still I just one of my favorite guys is Ramondre Stevens, so I guess I'm a bit biased because he picked up a nice award, I do believe, for a season, one of the season awards recently. So Ramondre Stevens is a beast. In any event, did you come to a conclusion yet?
Who had the bias?
Patriots,
I'm picking Denver.
and you're going to go with Jared Stidham
That's correct.
and the Denver Broncos
That's right.
over,
Ooh, I know what I got checked.
over your coach of the year.
Yes.
Over your coach of the year, much less. Man.
I believe in Sean Payton.
You believe in Sean Payton? Over your coach of the year, much less. All right.
They did have the easier schedule.
All right. No problem. No problem, man. Ben's going against the bias, going with the Denver Broncos. Next up, Benny, we have the other game. The NFC. Can you believe what you see in front of you? Rams at Seahawks, bias plus score of 0.
It's only right.
it
It had to be this way. I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be like 0.2 or something. Yeah. This will be the third time they play each other this season.
let me show you this real quick. Bam. Here you go. Rams versus Seahawks this season. Rams, 1 win. Seahawks, 1 win. Point score, Rams 58, Seahawks 57.
Almost identical.
Yards, Rams 830, Seahawks 829. So,
Can't get any closer.
it's why I love my numbers because they are truth. They are truth. It is what it is. But now look, Seahawks are first place, net points 12.6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rams third place, net points 9 plus 4. However, Rams average turnover differential 0.8, Seahawks is 0. So basically, that little 3-point difference, when you throw the turnover differential into the machine, broke even at 0. And there you go. So it swung on turnovers, as so
Yep.
much does. And I do have one question. The Seahawks really had an easy, I mean, they just ran through my Niners. It was like, holy mackerel. And I'm just wondering for some of them guys that they've played, I guess they've played the Rams before, so they should know the difference in difficulty. It's like having a strength of schedule difficulty. The strength of schedule that for the game they just played was pretty light, but the strength of schedule they're going to have to play is going to be notches above that. When I say strength of schedule, I'm just talking about the strength of team itself. They're going to have to play the Rams, and it ain't going to be as easy as what they were able to do with my Niners. That's all I'm saying. What do you think?
Did the Niners beat them during the regular season?
I think early on, yeah.
I think they did, right? So they knew what they were getting into last weekend. But I'll tell you what happened. This is what happened.
This is what happened.
Rams are the 5 seed. They had to go on the road to Chicago, take on the 2 seed, which was the Bears. Whew, Bears. Who would have thunk it? The Bears turned their whole season around. Oh, not to mention the snow and the frigid temperatures. But anyway, let me try to explain.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I do have to give kudos to the Rams for, we question, them being able to handle that, and they handled that quite well, I think.
No, you questioned it.
Okay. And they handled it quite well.
I picked them to win. Now, I'm going to try to explain to everybody how close this game was. Sort of kind of in a not necessarily a play-by-play way, but close to it. So the game starts. Bears get the ball first. Caleb starts a drive, throws an interception on the Bears' very first possession. The Rams turn that into points on a 14-play, 85-yard drive. Kyren Williams runs it in for a touchdown. Bears get the ball back again and immediately march down the field and score a touchdown. Pass from Caleb to DJ Moore. That was at the beginning of the second quarter. From the beginning of the second quarter, the score stayed tied at 7 while both teams traded punts and there was one stop on downs. I think the Bears got stopped on downs one time until under 3 minutes left in the half. So it was the entire second quarter from the beginning to the end that score stayed tied. When the Bears kicked a field goal and the Rams got the ball back and immediately came down to kick their own field goal. Now it's halftime, scores 10-10. In the second half, both teams traded 5 punts with a Caleb interception mixed in there, all the way down to the 8:50 mark in the fourth quarter. So the entire third quarter and halfway through the fourth quarter, they just kept giving the ball back and forth to each other until there was half or 8:50 left in regulation. And then the Rams finally finished off another drive with a Kyren Williams touchdown run to go up 17-10. Then They stopped the Bears on downs, and it was only 3 minutes left in regulation. And I'm thinking, okay, Rams are taking over. They're going to shut this thing down. Stop them on downs, get another drive, maybe kick another field goal. We're going to end this thing. So, of course, what did the Bears do? Force the Rams to punt. And on 4th and 4, on the Rams' 14-yard line, 18 seconds left, Caleb literally runs backwards to avoid the rush and throws the ball 51 yards through the air to Cole Kmet for a touchdown. Boom. Now, at that point, Ben Johnson said after the game, he thought about going for the 2-point conversion and going for the win. Usually, if you're at home, I think analytics says you do that. I don't know. But he decided not to. They kicked the extra point, tied up again. Game goes to overtime. Unfortunately for the Bears, whose defense stopped the Rams on the first overtime possession, and by the way, whose secondary played way over their heads in this entire game. They were giving Matt Stafford fits in this game. I did not see that coming at all. They had them receivers covered tight. Even Puka couldn't really get off. I mean, he got his numbers, but it wasn't his typical, dominant game. They had these guys under wraps. That all got spoiled because Caleb threw his third interception of the game. The Rams set themselves up for the game-winning field goal, and that was the end of that. What's their kicker's name? Mevis. They call him the thicker kicker. He's a husky fella. Now, listen to this. This is how close this game was. You just showed those numbers between the Seahawks and the Rams, right? Stafford was 20 of 42. Caleb was 23 of 42. Stafford threw for 258 yards. Caleb threw for 257 yards. Stafford had 0 touchdowns, but 0 turnovers because they scored both their touchdowns on the ground. Caleb had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That was the difference in the game right there. As close as their numbers were, that was the difference in the game. Now, personally, I think the Bears could have won that game and probably should have won that game, but they were a little careless with the ball. Obviously, he threw 3 interceptions. I believe one went off of the receiver's hands. And I don't think they were patient enough in the run game, considering that the score stayed close as long as it did. But the Rams obviously played great defense to keep them out of the end zone when they needed to and let the game drag on and drag on and drag on until all they could do was what they did at the end of regulation to take it into overtime. Now, in the one game that I thought for sure was going to be a barn burner, the number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks took the 6 seed Niners out to the woodshed, my brother. Beat them boys raggedy. Rashid Shaheed, definition of winning in all 3 phases. Rashid Shaheed runs back the opening kickoff for a touchdown, special teams. Seahawks never took their foot off the gas after that. Halfway through the 4th quarter is when they finally slowed down a little bit and got a couple 3 and outs. But the game's over by then. Offensively, they went after the Niners' biggest weakness on defense, which was stopping the run, and they hammered them for 175 total yards and 3 touchdowns on 33 carries. I think Sam Darnold probably threw the ball it was less than 20 passes he threw. Maybe 17 passes he had to throw. Talk about run game. Man, they gave it to him, man. Even after Charbonnet got hurt, Walker said, that's okay. I can do this on my own. And that poor tackling that I talked about with the Niners, that kind of came back too. But anyway, defensively, they grabbed an interception. They recovered 2 fumbles, and they held the Niners to 248 total yards and never allowed them to see the end zone. It was a very, very dominant performance by the Seahawks. They will be at home. They will have the 12th man. It's going to be really hard to pick them. But I think the Rams, after that battle with the Bears in the snow and the cold temperatures away from home, showed something I wasn't sure they really had. I think the Rams can beat the Seahawks the 3rd time around. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Wow. You're getting good at leading in one direction and then picking somebody else. You're getting pretty good at I see with your little setups there and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Charbonnet being out, I think is not necessarily you know, the worst thing, but it don't help, that's for sure.
No, it doesn't help.
I'm
Uh,
so used to seeing that these guys get a good run and they come right off the field. You know
right.
what I mean? And it always strikes me because I'm like, you guys have been training. You're at the tip top of your conditioning. You had one good run. You know what I mean? I always think at least if you stayed in there, you have the defense's attention. Now they could do something else because you just finished running it up the gut on them. In any event, Seahawks, yeah, they very fundamentally sound, very physical, and the Rams. Hey, look, if I had to choose based on quarterbacks, I'm going with the Seahawks. Excuse me, I'm going with the Rams. You know,
Oh,
yeah, I know. You're right.
I almost what?
No, I'm going, when when I watched that game last week, and I remember talking to you about when Darnold left the Niners, and I had to, at least consider, Darnold versus Purdy as far as who I would have preferred, at that particular time. And I really did consider Darnold because I kind of felt like Purdy and Darnold skill-wise were close, but Darnold's obviously bigger. You know what I mean? So it's just pretty much only that. But in any event, uh, to have the bias come up as zero, I think is crazy awesome. And you're going to go with the Rams, so
Yes.
I can't win in either case unless they tie. And you notice I didn't put tie on here. I just put favors none.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't necessarily favor a tie because you can't have a tie. They won't allow it.
No. Won't be a tie.
No, there will be no ties. There will be no ties. So, well, Benny, we have one major piece of business that we have to handle, and I believe you probably already know the answer
Yeah.
to who the Bias Plus Buster of the week is.
Would have to be those Seahawks.
No,
What?
Seahawks are favored.
Oh, that's right. It can't be a favorite. My bad. My bad.
The New England Patriots, congratulations, the Bias Plus Buster of the Week through the division championship week at 12.4 points. Not big, but what can I tell you? Wasn't a whole bunch of scoring, but well, except for the Seahawks, and like I said, they weren't the underdogs, they were favored there. So
Right.
I'm telling you. So, based on what you're saying, Benny, you see a Super Bowl comprised of Broncos and Rams?
That would be correct.
Broncos and Rams. And you think that the Rams are better than the Broncos?
Did I say that?
Well, I think you said that the NFC had the two stronger.
I said according to the numbers.
Oh, according to the numbers. Oh, you qualified it. So, all right. Well, we'll hold off on that then. Okay. So, Stidham versus.
Yeah, you're laughing. You're laughing now.
Stidham. I remember making fun of him specifically. But okay. It would be more, that would be more than what a Foles did, I think. I think that would be more than what a Foles did if he's able to do that. And
Why?
I will
Why
have
would
to
you say
say,
that?
because I think Foles was a little more.
No, he wasn't. No.
uh didn't Foles get to play? He got to play.
Oh, he had more games under his belt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had more games, right? That's what I'm kind
Right.
of thinking of. Yeah. So, and Stephen A said, if the Patriots lose to Stidham, they can't even go back to New England.
Yeah, well, he says a lot of dumb things. So
But I could kind of see that. I guess everybody like back in New England going, Stidham, you know, he lost to Stidham. Come on, man. All right,
I mean, the
let's.
Niners lost to Darnold, and Darnold didn't even do anything.
Well,
So when you start giving wins to quarterbacks instead of to the team, that's when you start getting those kind of
I
statements.
see you. I see you. All right, there you go. There you go. Let's take a quick look, Benny. Ben and Barry on football. See if anything you want to. Oh yeah. Well, first off, Benny, before we go any further. We definitely got to give you a chance. This is your weekend. There you go.
Go!
Oh my goodness. That's so corny.
Go!
That's so corny.
Go!
I said the first thing I'm going to want to see is them prove to me that Harbaugh has final say on everything. Something's going to come up and a decision is going to have to be made. And I want to make sure that Joe Shane doesn't have any more than an opinion to give. And that's it. Because he's not supposed to be making any final decisions.
The general manager is not supposed to be making any final decisions, eh?
Nope. Nope.
Okie dokie.
That's why it took 2 days for him to sign that contract.
Okay, okay. So,
Remember, they announced it one day. He never really signed it till like a day, day and a half later.
so I guess you got the inside scoop on the Giants there, and Harbaugh saying, I need that final decision.
That's how he works.
Well, I'm not coming.
That's how he works.
Now, the interesting thing about Harbaugh is that he brings such an organizational capability with him that the Giants are going to definitely benefit from.
Yes.
He's also bringing his offensive coordinator.
Is that finalized?
I saw it. They were pretty much saying it's just a matter of signing up or something.
Okay.
But I see that sort of a parallel between him and the situation with the Buffalo Bills, where you've got this super duper quarterback, but you can't get to and win the Super Bowl. And then the Ravens situation with Harbaugh, they not only had that, but they had Derrick Henry, and you for one tracked the use of Derrick Henry, and I don't believe that you were happy at all with how they used Derrick Henry. Am I correct about that?
It was a bit erratic for my taste, yes.
So, so now he goes and he's got, you know, uh, a power back, and he's got a running mobile quarterback, neither of which I believe is at the level of, what he had with the Ravens. So my question, I'm really questioning what he's going to be able to really do for them, in terms of competing. I guess in the NFC East, well, you got the Eagles, he's got the Commanders and the Cowboys, and he's got to build that team up to get out of that division.
Right. As far as I'm concerned, again, it's all wait and see. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. First thing I want to see is what kind of decisions get made in the draft, what kind of decisions get made in free agency, team building, all that stuff. See how that goes. That's all I'm concerned about right now. As far as the offensive coordinator is concerned, I believe, reading between the lines, that it was more than just coming up with a game plan, going up in the booth and saying, give him the ball, give him the ball, give it to him again, give it to him again. They would have liked to do that. Some games they did do that. Some games they didn't. I really think he was handcuffed somewhat by some other factors. I don't know what the other factors were, but I think Lamar Jackson has something to do with it. I believe that and from what I've heard about Todd Monken, he's a very gruff, in your face, old school type of coach. And he rubbed Lamar the wrong way. But he's Harbaugh's buddy. Harbaugh loves him. And the owner asked him to get rid of Monken. I don't think he did it because he didn't like Monken. I think he did it because Lamar Jackson doesn't like Monken. When you're working under those kind of conditions, things can get a little raggedy. So now that they're free and can build this team the way they want to, and probably won't get any interference from the owner, and they surely won't get any interference from a second-year quarterback. Let's see what happens.
$100 million. I heard that was the contract he got.
Who, Harbaugh?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's a lot of money, man.
Was that 5 years?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah. So, okay. Harbaugh, big news. Buffalo Bills, big news. Anything you want to say on that?
I was surprised when they fired McDermott. What I heard today was Dayball's got a shot at that job. Now, Dayball was the offensive coordinator. Dayball helped build Josh Allen into what he is. But when the opportunity came up for him to be a head coach, he jumped at it, as a lot of these guys do. But if that hadn't come up, I think he would have been more than happy to stay there and possibly take over when McDermott called it quits or got fired. So if he goes back to the Bills, I will not be surprised. And I think it'll be good for Josh anyway.
If you're looking for a coach that's going to take this team to that next championship level, and the reason you got rid of the coach that you had, who's one of the most winning coaches in the league, if not the winningest coach in the league, and who brought your team from nothingness because you weren't winning a thing till he came along, and you moved him out of there because he couldn't get you to that next level. And then you turn around and go get Daboll, who has not shown a lick of being able to take someone yet to a championship level, okay, on his own as a head coach.
Name that coach who can.
Huh?
When the Patriots got Vrabel, did they expect him to take them to championship level?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
Why? Why? What did he show? He didn't do nothing with Tennessee.
Well, I think that, they when they talked to him, when they saw him, when they saw some growth in him as a coach, and from the Tennessee time, I think he's a better coach than he was with Tennessee now.
And I would say that Daboll has grown and become a better coach than he was with the Giants after having had that head coaching experience.
Okay, well, okay, that's your opinion. I don't see
it. You can't discount.
I don't see it at all.
The connection between your star quarterback and the guy that took him by the hand and led him to what he is now.
Well, he led him to some degree, but
who else? Who else led him?
I didn't say anybody else led him. I said he led him to some degree. How long has he been gone? He's been gone how many years now?
2.
2 years. So
3.
3 years. Okay, so he led him up to that.
And he was coach of the year first year.
Huh?
His first year with the Giants, he was coach of the year.
Coach of the year, yeah, I know. And then went down from there.
As the team went down from there.
Well, he didn't
Daniel Jones debacle that goes with the general manager, and on and on and on. The lack of offensive linemen in the draft, the lack of going after offensive linemen that's all the GM.
Okay, so you think most of what happened with the success of the Giants is GM related, as
absolutely
coaching related.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, all right. And let's see, was there anything else that we were looking at
Yeah,
for
so how come what's his name? McDaniel,
McDaniels. Yeah,
Miami's coach that got fired,
right.
had a chance to be offensive coordinator for the Eagles and offensive coordinator for the Chargers, and he picked the Chargers. Does that
Mm,
mean anything to you?
that means he went with what he saw was a healthier situation.
A healthier situation as far as
Coach
organizationally?
organization. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Ah,
Exactly.
ah,
Want to be in the middle of that mess.
ah.
Uh,
Okay.
here
All right.
in Philly. All right, Benny. You made your picks. I will get this stuff out to the public. This is Ben and Barry on football. You can find us at www.benandbarryonfootball.com. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and we will see you with the results and next week's picks. Same place, same time, 1 week from now.
Enjoy the games.
Enjoy the conference championship weekend. Wow, Benny.